Listen, let's continue from where we were last week. Today I really want to focus even a little bit more on the whole loving aspect of the forgiveness that follows. So once again, thank you, Ruchama. Thank you, the Torah Institute, and everything that we say and that we gain and that we grow in chizuk and in love, and should be for the sake of the Geula Shlema, should be Leilui Nishmat Rebbetzin Machles, Alei Shalom, and for a wonderful gewencht year, a year filled with happiness and health and Geula, Simcha and Ahava. I've been saying to everyone, I found a beautiful bracha to say to everyone. You should have a Shana Tova u'Metuka, and all the brachot ad bli dai. Can you ask, right? Until no end. That's it. You finish the bracha with that, right? You just, everything should just, Bezrat Hashem, be barachamim and besimcha. So I wanted to just sort of start off where I kind of left off last week, from one nikuda that I think we spoke about off camera, which I felt was very important to put on camera, and it doesn't hurt to hear about it again. So there was one major point that I felt was a little bit, important to, like I said, start to sort of make that from that forgiveness to the love, what's that bridge? And I feel like one of the most loving acts that we could do for ourselves in terms of forgiveness is that when we do essentially forgive the other person. Now I'm talking particularly about someone who we feel has wronged us, someone who we feel has, of course, treated us wrong. And I'm going to go to the extreme. It could be really, really damaging wrong. And it could be just, you didn't say, I don't know, you did something per se that really essentially not just deeply hurt me, but something that I felt that I was mistreated by you. It could be something small, something you said. When that happens, when we hold on to the bitterness and the resentment towards that other person, essentially what happens is we keep some of that experience, the whole experience, we keep some of that in us. Because essentially, if someone's done something wrong, and figure it's all in this bucket, okay? Here's an imaginary bucket. The entire experience is in this bucket now, okay? That bucket, because it was a wrongdoing, it was a hurt, it was a painful experience, all that is in this bucket. Now, I've taken part of it, and it's lodged inside of me because I'm holding on to an emotion that is because of what went into this bucket. I'm feeling bitter, frustrated, sad, whatever it is. Now, the rest of that bucket has its energy is to the person who committed the crime, quote unquote. Okay, I'm just going to, for the purpose of understanding. So essentially, I've taken part of that experience and I've held it on to me. I've kept it and stored it inside my heart, or wherever it is. You can store those memories. I don't know if anyone has ever read the book, Molecules of Emotions, by Dr. Candace Pert. She also passed away, I think it was 2006. She was a neuroscientist who discovered in her younger years the whole idea of the molecules in the body holding memories of trapped emotions and traumas that, and it used to be believed up until she came along, that all these memories were in the brain. That's where you think, that's where things are stored, and that's it. So, okay, yeah, so the brain could, God forbid, have all this toxic stuff and memories. But she discovered that these memories are lodged into molecules that float around everywhere in the body. It could be lodged in your toe, in your hair follicle, in your inner eardrum, in the nasal hairs. I mean, like everywhere and anywhere in your body. And so it's a book that's very worthwhile to read. If we're talking about the non-Jewish And I want to tell you what's discovered in the book is that she was Jewish, which I mean, I don't know, Candace and Pert, like I didn't hear anything Jewish there, but she was married, I think, to a non-Jew. And unfortunately, she turned a little Buddhist a little bit, towards the end of her life, because the book also talks a little bit about her biography and the history of her whole life. She puts in all her personal, anyway, it's not a pitch for her, but I'm saying it's very interesting to read how she talks about that all of our emotional experiences are so intimately connected to our biochemical makeup and the health of our body. I mean, she was, like I said, one of the instruments in terms of changing the mindset of mind-body-spirit connection that we take for granted today. And we know, oh yeah, sure, of course we know it's connected. Well, she was one of those who started off that, the bringing of the proof about that. So what happens is when we keep those memories inside of us, then the person who created, who is the one who created the situation for us, they don't consciously grasp the entirety of the wrongdoing. Why? Because we have held on to some of that. We are holding on to an emotional aspect of what happened. So essentially, when they think about what they did, they're not thinking about it from the entire situation. And in fact they're missing out on one of the most key points of the situation. And that is the emotional damage it caused in me, for instance. Why? Because where's that emotional damage? In me. Unless I submit and declare that I no longer want to be a holder of that emotional destruction that was caused due to the trauma and the damage of the other person, so long as it remains by me, that is the key point for opening up his guilty conscience in a way that will motivate him to either, apologize, do tshuva, or everything in between, right? To actually take responsibility. If I choose to send back that energy of the emotional destruction and despair that person caused in me, I'm enabling him to experience my pain because I no longer want to have it sit inside of me, right? I send it back to him, to her, right, to them, and then they can really feel the damage they've done, right? You declare, what we spoke about last week, you declare to I no longer, yes, through the act of forgiveness, and you declare to also send it back. You have to, consciously it's going to know where to go back, but it helps you to deposit that back to the person and say, you know what? This is what you caused in the world. Not just to me, because when you cause damage in me, you cause damage to the world. You hurt one person, you hurt the world. We know that. Every person is a world unto himself. So I want you to know what you did. How can you know what you did if I'm choosing to be the holder of that damage? So I declare that I'm going to take that. In the process, I'm going to free myself of the emotional pain, and I'm going to give it back to you. I'm not freeing you from responsibility. It's quite the opposite. Now, by me taking it out of me and sending it to you, it is your responsibility to go ahead and do an accounting with yourself. Do you understand what I'm saying?
So is this through energy?
It's consciousness. Energy is consciousness.
So something, they're going to feel something as soon as you forgive them?
I don't know.
Meaning
That's up to
without actually saying
Hashem.
that
That's up to Hashem. I know one thing. Consciousness needs to be sent back to its original source, right? If that person was the cause or at the core source of creating that consciousness of pain inside of me, that person needs to get that consciousness back.
I know stories of people who were going through something, and when they went to a makubal, they said somebody has tightness on you, and they never even knew that maybe they said something that wasn't nice or without really.
You know how many people go around?
Realizing
Plenty of people.
You have to go tell them.
Yes. But not just tell them, you have to forgive them.
Yeah.
You have to tell them and you have to forgive them. You have to send it back to them. That's really what it is. You're sending it back to them.
Really, you're doing worse by keeping your mouth shut. There's a nice
Yes.
way to say you hurt me, or you said,
Again, definitely it has to be done with softness and with care from a place of Emuna.
Back to them? because I would think of like.
What if the person's
forgiving was just-
no, you go back to them in consciousness. You don't have to go physically back to anybody.
Even if you think you forgave them, you're really holding it still.
Yeah.
How do you know?
If someone did something to you that it was enough that it activated you, and then you're like, I could.
You know what? We're going to do an exercise. We're also going to do an exercise at the end of the night. This is a beautiful exercise to gauge to see if you really do have any of that still stuck in
It's
you.
interesting, a lot of people don't know if they did really forgive or not.
Yeah, so I have had women in my course, when I teach the energy course, and I've had women say to me, oh my gosh, I can't believe this came up again. I thought I was done with this. Like, I thought I forgave. I thought it was done. And then they realize, okay, there must be some more layers here that I need to really, like, I touched so much until the place where I knew if I went there, that would be really painful. That would be really painful. And sometimes that place is in the rage. It really usually hits the place of rage. When that emotion of rage comes out, you usually know that you've touched it. I hate to say it. Sometimes you have to hit even that place of rage. You have to, like I know therapies, now everybody has a different viewpoint of therapy, but I know therapies where they make you scream, they make you yell it out, they make you say whatever words come to your mouth, just say it, let it out, get it out, punch it out, whatever it is. Now there's, could be a machloket, there could be a difference of opinions if that's the proper way or not. In my opinion, I think there's so much healing in that. There's so much healing in being able to really confront the real raw emotion. A lot of people don't want to do that. So today they've created other also alternatives to being able to, cover it up and not maybe, but I feel like you have to experience the emotion that's really sitting inside of you.
Some people don't know how.
So that's what you have. You have to go to the right. I mean, today, thank God, there's enough complementary medicine out there, a lot of complementary therapies out there. You got to find the right person. Today you got to do your research and you got to find the right avenues.
Can I tell you, remember once you did this class where you did this whole forgiving meditation at the end of your class? Can I tell you, I was thinking of a specific person that I didn't leave it off, whatever, it's like something happened and it wasn't good. And I remember you said, have in mind this, whoever it is that you want to forgive, or whoever you want to send positive energy to, whoever you want to send forgiveness to.
Right.
It was like a whole exercise.
Yes.
You kind of took us, you guided us.
Yes.
And can I tell you, I'm not kidding you, she got in touch with me that week.
So what did I just say? When you send it back to them.
And she's in Florida.
So, so here, this is proof to the pudding. You just brought proof to the pudding. When you sent it back to them, and you're not only freeing yourself, but I have to tell you, can I tell you, it's the greatest act of Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, because you're giving them the opportunity to confront what they need to do tshuva on. And you're freeing. Now, you could say, well, but I don't want to free them. I want them to suffer. I want them. First of all, they're not suffering because they don't have the full experience in them. You're holding on to the painful part of it. So they're not even really suffering for it because they don't really experience that pain. Right. I hate to say it, almost like if you want them to suffer, send it back to them. Send them back your pain. Again, that's not the purpose of it. You don't want them to really suffer. But you want them to experience the level at which you felt this distraught, turmoil, and you want to give them the opportunity to be able to hold it. Now, does that mean, in your case, it was very extreme and beautiful, but does it mean that everyone's going to be like that? No, but it doesn't matter, because Hashem does the cheshbon shemayim. It's Hashem who needs to do the cheshbon of what a person needs to do, what he doesn't need to do, and what's right to do and what's not right to do. We just have to know one thing. We have to free ourselves, completely of all this bitterness. And now I want to go into the idea of Rosh Hashanah. And I think I say this relatively a few times over the last few Rosh Hashanahs. Maybe I even said it last class, but I feel like it's so relevant. Did I talk about the fact that when you go into shul, you have to declare Hashem, you're my king? Did we talk about that last week? No, probably not. So I might have said it in another class. So when you go into Rosh Hashanah, first of all, a very important line of thought there should be only one line of thought all those 48 hours of Rosh Hashanah. I don't think it's an isur. I wouldn't say it's an isur. You're not prohibited. You're not allowed to, but you really, really should minimize and hopefully even not make any personal requests at all during the 48 hours of Rosh Hashanah. This is not about you getting the house that you want. It's not about you getting, having your children come back to tshuva. I'm going to like the real significant, right? Not the house so much, but your children come back to tshuva, even having enough money to marry my son and daughter off, whatever, like significant, I'm not just, I want to buy that pink dress, right? We're talking about significant things. 48 hours, we need to be one with Hashem. And when you think about the parak of Tehillim that led us from Rosh Chodesh Elul that leads us all the way into Yom Kippur, right? The parak Kaf Zayin, parak 27, Hashem Ori V'Yishi, Hashem, you are my light, you are my salvation, you are my everything. And David HaMelech says, right? Give me the zchut, give me the merit to every day come and be a visitor in your Hichal. Be a visitor in your chamber, in your palace. It's very interesting. Two things I want to make mention. How can I be a visitor if every day I come? If I come every day, am I a visitor? Think about it. Can you be a visitor if you're every day? It's very strange. Something doesn't feel right. If I come to you every day, I feel almost like a bat bait. Right? I feel like it's almost like it's my house. Because if I'm coming every day, and the more consistent that I come, it doesn't feel like I'm visiting you. It feels like I'm staying by you, like I'm partially living by you, right? And yet David HaMelech chooses to use the word, I want to come to you every day, all of the time, all of my life. But he uses the word visitor. And that says something very significant about David HaMelech and his request and what we should be requesting coming into the new year. We want to ask from Hashem that every day we should be entitled and merit to come into his palace where, and this is bringing me to the second point of why it's important during the 48 hours to not ask for personal requests. We're asking Hashem, allow me every day to come into your palace, but be treated, but for me to feel, not be treated, but for me to experience my visit to you every day as though I'm a visitor for the first time. In other words, approach my relationship with you from Erev Klulot, the night I first married you. Am I right? Hopefully everyone had a very good experience the night after they got married, and they felt the sparks and the balloons and the firecrackers, and I'm the luckiest woman in the world. Okay, what happened the next night, I don't know, but for that night, hopefully we all experienced some sort of firecracker moment. Not that we wanted to blow up, but we felt the whole world was just filled with love, right? That is what David HaMelech is essentially asking. He's saying, I want every day to be with you, all day, every day. But I want it to feel as though I've never been there before. I want to have a relationship with you built on excitement and love. And wow, look at that picture and look at the frame on the wall, and the new carpet, and and all right, and be excited to be in your palace as though I've never been there before. But not only that, one of the other things we need to be asking for from Hashem is that we want to ask him for one thing. I just want to be in your palace. Okay, leave the visiting part. I just want to be in your palace, in your presence. I just want to be with you. And why? Think about it. It's also selfish in a way, because when I'm in your palace, the doors to the treasure are open, the servants of yours are there, offering me a cup of tea together when they're offering for you, right? I get the air conditioning on, I get the plush chair to sit down, I get the lavish table with all the food, right? When you're visiting the king, you're not, stuck in, even if you're in the wards, right? The servant ward, I think I wouldn't mind being, stuck in a servant's ward. They live like kings themselves, right? So when you're in the palace of the king, you get everything that you need. So by default, when you focus on, I just want to be one with you, Hashem, I just want to be with you in your palace. But let me go even deeper than that. Rosh Hashanah is a day of yearning. Rosh Hashanah is a day where Hashem is checking us out. What do you really, really, really want? What do you really yearn for? What's important to you? This is the day where you're supposed to tell me how much you love me, right? This is the day you're supposed to tell me how much you just want to marry me. You just want to be with me. But what are you really thinking about? So when you find your mind flipping over and you find yourself thinking to yourself, well, I should be asking for this. Now, of course, there are certain places in the siddur and there's certain, moments. I didn't say not at all to think, listen, we're human beings. And when you do all the simanim, in fact, is you do bring into consciousness, we should be a rosh and not zanav, right? That we should be able to wipe out all of our enemies. We should have a shefa parnasa when you think about the rimon, right? I mean, there's certain things that you really should be thinking about. I'm not saying not at all, but the intention of your yearning that day needs to be, I want to be in the palace. I'm waiting, I'm salivating over the day where your glory will be revealed. Because essentially, what does that mean? We're asking Hashem that every day, all day, for the entirety of humankind consciousness, we should all live in your palace, all day long. We should always be in that Kaf Zayin Pasuk, right, of to be a visitor. And when we are, when this world will absolutely reveal it to be what it is, the palace of Hashem, then everyone in the palace of Hashem will have everything that they need. So not only are we giving honor to Hashem by saying, all I want is to be with you. And as the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh, one of his most beautiful expressions of such a gadol and tzaddik, a malach Hashem, the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh, how he says, I am sick. I am sick already, Hashem. What kind of sickness do we all have? And he said, we're all sick. Guess what? We're all sick. What are we sick with? We're all sick with a machala, with a sickness called love sickness. We are all love sick for Hashem. That is the shoresh, that is the source of all holy, all sickness, all destruction, all lacking in this world comes from that only one place. I am not with you. I don't experience the good. Everything I'm doing with you is behind these cloaks and cloaks and cloaks. And the further we are distant from Briat HaOlam, as we become older in this world, now we're 5,780, right? As we distance ourselves from Har Sinai, we're becoming really, in a way, distant. We're feeling less. We're remembering less of that monumental day. We're remembering less what it felt like to be carved from the holy throne when we came down here. We don't remember. And that's a sickness on its own. Hashem Yerachem. We all know what Alzheimer's and dementia and all those, horrible to not remember your loved ones. But guess what? We all have a form of that. We all have a form of Alzheimer's. When in fact is, when you think about the Torah of the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh and the Torah of mirrors, when you hear about someone who has Alzheimer's, who has dementia, how many of us suffer from lack of memory? Youngsters. I consider myself still young. I hope I can still consider myself a category of young. I don't remember things. Yeah, I don't remember things. At that moment when I don't remember, I have to lift myself and say, not only do I not remember where I put the keys, I don't remember you, Hashem. It's to take the experience and to remember that it's not just the key. I lost the keys. Hashem wanted me to lose my keys, so I would remember that I forgot him. That I would think about it. No, that I should remember that it's not just the keys that I forgot. I forgot things that are much more significant to me in my life. Right, it's symbolic. Right, Hashem is showing me I need to remember not the keys, where I put the keys. I need to remember him. Right? Everything has its essence in the Torah Tamarot, the Torah of mirrors. That everything is Hashem's way of communicating to us. So it's really, really, essential that we keep our mind as focused as possible on just asking Hashem to reveal His glory. I love when I feel such intense pain. I don't want to. I heard something yesterday, and it pained me on such a way, because I was able to lift up that experience. It wasn't mine. I just heard about something that happened outside. And I had such intense pain. I said, oh my gosh, like, you were at that place at that time when that happened, Hashem. It pains me to think about what you must have been feeling. I kind of humanized it at that moment. You know, what you were feeling when you heard that this was going on in your world. And not only your world, think about it, this was going on in his house. It happened here in Israel. This went on in your house. Imagine you're hosting someone in your home, and isn't that it's the worst violation. It's one thing when people do things, chas v'shalom, nobody should do anything wrong, but when they do it outside of the home. But when you find out that someone did something to stab you in the back, chas v'shalom, right, in your home, it's 10 times worse. 10 times worse. And so that's why really when you live here in Israel, it's such an awesome responsibility to try to do it as best as you can, because you're under a magnifying glass that you're not in when you're in Chutz La'aretz. You're not. I'm not saying Hashem doesn't care. Chas v'shalom, of course He cares what goes on everywhere. It's all His home. But when it happens under your own roof, and Eretz Yisrael is the four corners of Hashem's palace, when it happens in your own house, boy, it shakes the roof. It really does shake the roof. So this is that humbled point that we should get to in this month. And I was thinking to myself, you know, in doing tshuva, instead of thinking to myself, you know, when we go up after 120, there's two things there's sort of two things we need to look at. We're judged on based on deen, and we're judged on cheshbon. You know that when you say to someone about a consequence, in English you just say consequence, right? There's a consequence to the behavior. In Hebrew, the way that Chazal bring it down and describe it is they say you're going to have to give a deen and cheshbon. What is a deen? What is a cheshbon? What does that mean? Anybody know what that means? What's the difference? Obviously there's a difference. Hashem doesn't just churn words. There's a deen and there's a cheshbon. What's the difference? Think about it.
Cheshbon is an accounting.
Okay.
Deen is justice. You have to, right?
Right. What would that mean to me in my life?
What are the consequences?
Deen would be the consequences. Absolutely. But what is the cheshbon? What is the accounting? What is Hashem keeping an account for? What is He accounting for?
I think the cheshbon is, the din is the consequence of the specific action.
It's what you did.
But I feel like the cheshbon is more of all the things you've done, you know. Like when I think about, when I'm davening in shul, I think about, that's why they say, like, so, you know, you can't look at Judaism as a reward and punishment.
Right.
And this, you know.
Right, because you don't know the
checks and balances.
Right.
You know, you help the old lady or whatever.
Right.
You did a chesed, you get a check in the chesed. You did a sin, you get a check in the
Right.
chesed. And based on those cheshbonos,
Yes.
comes the din.
Interesting. I never thought about it that way. So Chazal teaches a perspective that I think some of us may not always pay attention to. So when we go up to Shemayim, we all know the idea that we see a movie, right? We get the popcorn, get a nice comfy movie chair, we're all sitting in the cinema, we're eating the popcorn and we're watching the movie of our life. And we see this beautiful screen, and hopefully we're laughing throughout all the movie, not at ourselves, but laughing at all the happiness over the great choices we've made in our life, right? Be'ezrat Hashem. And we've said this before in past classes, on this movie screen, right, there's these subtitles, right? If whoever's been following the Daily Use of Emuna has heard this before, I'll repeat it once again for those who haven't. You see all these subtitles running through. As someone knocks on my door at 10 o'clock at night, I remember when I was 30 years old, someone knocked on my door at 10 o'clock at night and wanted tzedakah. So I went to the pushka, and I got out whatever, and I gave it to the guy, and after exchanging 2 words and giving him a bracha, he left and went on his way. And I'm seeing this on my movie screen right now, but I'm seeing subtitles. Now, I'm looking at the subtitles, and I'm seeing my mouth move, and there's no coordination between what I'm saying and what the words are saying on the subtitles, and I'm wondering, wait, I understand, this is not representing what I'm saying. What is the subtitles? Those are the thoughts that were going through my mind as I was performing the act of tzedakah. Now, here I'm thinking to myself, you're a righteous woman, young lady. 10 o'clock, you went out, you pulled out a nice crisp bill, you gave it to the guy, you even offered him water, beautiful. But what were you really thinking? Tell me, are you nuts? 10 o'clock at night, you're coming knocking on my door? Why don't you go out and get to work? Why are you coming and asking me for money? Do you know how hard I've worked to get this dollar bill or whatever it is that I'm giving? Do you understand? So there's a discrepancy between the physical act, what the physical world has showed me, and what I was actually thinking. And there has to be a wholesome experience, and we've said this before as well, in order to create a wholesome angel, an angel that has 2 eyes and 2 ears and 2 wings and 2 feet, and is able to really fly across the world and do good things with the mitzvah that I've done. Every mitzvah has to be done, according to the Arizal, the wholesome mitzvah has to be done on 5 planes. We've said this before. You have to want, you have to think it, you got to speak it, you've got to feel it, and then you've got to do it. So if I'm just giving tzedakah, but I didn't want to give tzedakah, I didn't think about the amazing mitzvah of doing tzedakah. I didn't speak good words while I was giving the tzedakah. I didn't feel like I wanted to give tzedakah with all my heart, but I just gave it. It's not a wholesome experience. That poor angel is the klepid. He can't even fly. He can't even get to his destination, right? So in order to, that's what we have to strive for. It's, yes, a lofty level, but we are lofty people. We have godly stuff in us, so we can really do it, right? So we have to believe in that. Why did I say that? How did I get to there? There's my MS moment. The account. Thank you. So here I am, I'm seeing, thank you for keeping track of my brain. So we see this beautiful movie, and okay, this is that. That's the deen. The deen is you have to pay, live up, be accounted for the responsibility of not performing the act in its entirety of the wholesome experience of the mitzvah. The cheshbon is Hashem is showing me what would have happened if I would have performed that mitzvah in its entirety. If I would have surpassed my judgment upon this person who knocked on the door, and I would have welcomed him and given him a bracha and offered him fresh chocolate cake out of the oven and even a cup of coffee, and I would have, asked him to, okay, again, tznius rules, right? Let's say it was a woman at the door, okay? So I got to get but you understand what I'm saying? I would have gone above and beyond, and yes, wanted the mitzvah, and yes, then there's a gap now between what I did, and then they're going to show me that if you would have done that wholesome experience, if you would have really done that mitzvah with its entirety, that person now would have walked away from your home feeling very confident and loved, would have come home and hugged his wife, of course, during, to hard days, right? And maybe he would have been more optimistic about his life. And this is what could have come out from that. That's a cheshbon. The accounting of what could have been.
The ripple effect.
But not just the ripple effect, of what you could have done with your time, what you could have done with your life. And the gap between movie A and movie B, some say, Chazal say, theorize, that's the Gehenna of the person. What you did and what you could have done. What you did and what you were destined to become. Right?
The person will feel bad because he didn't do his utmost.
And what is he going to ask at that moment, do you think? What is he going to ask for at that moment from Hashem?
Rachamim.
For sure, without a doubt. You know what they say in the Zohar he asks? I want to go back. Send me back right now. I want to go back. I want to be Bataken. Now I know what I should have been doing. So send me back with that knowledge. I promise. Going back to the original oath of when the soul came down and promised, I'm going to be righteous. Once again, that soul is united with that emet. And the soul says, oh my gosh, send me back. I know I could do it right this time. And in judgment, in the Olam HaEmet, I'm sorry, you can't go down with that consciousness. And what's the purpose of the world? If you know what you're supposed to be doing all the time, then there's no inyan about the nisayon. There's no you in it. There's no you in it because who gave him that consciousness? It was an Olam Ha'emet. Who does that consciousness belong to? Hashem. That means I didn't own it. And the whole purpose of coming down into this world is to acquire and to own, right? To work towards something that belongs to me. That I could feel that I'm emulating God from a place of my creation, my creating myself, right? That's the whole process of me emulating my creator, is me creating myself in this world, right? So when going back to the forgiveness part, if I'm holding on to these negative emotions and I don't love myself, I don't feel worthy because I'm upset with X, Y, and Z, it stops me from being able to really fulfill my godly potential, because all my life I feel cheated. I feel like I've been given the raw side of the deck of the cards, and I feel like Hashem doesn't really love me. So what am I doing? I'm going into Rosh Hashanah, and I'm saying Avinu Malkeinu, and I'm saying Hashem, I want another year. I want another year. I want another year of life. I want another year of bracha, of everything. Who's giving me all that? You, Hashem, you're my king. You're giving me that. But I'll tell you the truth, Hashem, if you can give me like a little bit more this year, can you just change a little bit of plan A, on A here? Can you just give me like another 20 million on that one? And the husband here, I just changed the way, just give him a little bit more hair on his head and, a little bit more patience and I don't know what. Either I anoint the king, and the king wants to be beloved by his people, but if I have qualms and quarrels with my God, and I'm not happy with the way that he's a king over me, then who am I fooling? If there's any day of the year where you are most exposed to Hashem, it's only Rosh Hashanah. What does it say in Chazal? It's the day where all the sheep pass by the shepherd and he takes a look at every single one. Let me see where are those ears? Did you clean those ears? How does your chin look? He looks at every nook and cranny. Think about it, literally like going through a complete X-ray machine. I mean, today you've got more invasive machines, right? You've got the bone scans, they go down to your bone. I mean, I don't know, they have such intense machines today. No machine equates for the amount of piercing into my private spaces than the day of Rosh Hashanah. You cannot hide. In fact, is one of the corrective measures on Rosh Hashanah is to be mechaper, to bring an atonement to the whole first sin of Adam HaRishon, right? I mean, that's the day that do we all know that, right? The day of Rosh Hashanah is the day that Adam HaRishon was created. It was just then that the sin was committed. So it's on that day that Adam HaRishon basically hid because of his transgression. Hashem is giving us the opportunity on Rosh Hashanah to come out from behind the tree and expose ourselves. We are completely naked. If anybody thinks they're dressing up in the latest fashionable dress on Rosh Hashanah, forget it. We are completely naked in front of Hashem on Rosh Hashanah. So I'm saying to Hashem, and I'm going to make sure I'm going to shul, and I'm going to wake up in the morning, and I'm going to cook the best meals, and I'm going to do everything. But did I bear to think for one moment whether I really accept Hashem? And I can't lie. See, it's the day where you can't lie, because Hashem knows. It says, Bodek levavot v'klayot. He goes into your kishkas. It says specifically Hashem goes into your kishkas and checks to see what's brewing in there. So if on that day we're holding resentment towards this person or that person, which eventually means I have resentment and anger towards Hashem, because as we know, if you really believe that God is in charge of everything, then the person who hurt me is only sent by God. Well, I don't know. If you sent that person to hurt me, then I don't know how good I feel about you either. Chas v'shalom, right? All this has to be done. All these the counting of all of my emotions have to be resolved before Sunday night. I have to get to a place, where I can say, I really do love my life. I really do appreciate my life. I really do appoint you to run my life from A to Z and in between for another full 365 days of the next year, right?
So therefore.
Without any revisions.
Okay, so therefore you have really nothing to ask.
You ask for Hashem.
No, I'm saying if you're saying, that I
Ultimately, that is the, yes.
There's really nothing to ask for, not even on Yom Kippur.
Now, I think that we can put a little clause of exception there. And the clause of exception is to ask for
Maybe you don't
Hashem.
really know what you want, because you don't really trust that you know what's best for yourself.
That's even a greater level of Emuna, saying that's a very humble, then that's a very humbled stance. I think that's a beautiful place to be. If I could say that I really don't know if
I leave
right.
it up to you.
That, you know what?
I'm not
In that
I'm not carrying all that heavy load.
In
Leave it up to you.
that simplicity, you will find Hashem. It's dafka in that place of simplicity, saying, I really just don't even know. You want to say?
Yeah, when you said, ask Hashem to show us His glory, like, what does that look like?
So yesterday when I experienced listening to something that in my eyes felt a disgraceful experience that I know Hashem was not happy with, I say, where's your glory? That you invited these people into your home and they bashed your house. They left it and you have to foot the bill. You have to foot the bill because you know how it goes. One of the amazing midas, so to speak, quote unquote, of Hashem is that hu noseh avon v'pesha. When a person commits a transgression, right? When I say, where's your glory? It means Hashem, what does it say in the Midrash? That Hashem is depicted as a melech mevuzeh, a humiliated king. That's what Chazal bring upon in the explanation in all these 13, in between the midas. Why? You think about, quote unquote, leave Hashem for a moment here. Think about a person, like I said, you're inviting people into your home. You're giving them everything, the feast of a lifetime. You're providing them with everything they need. And like I said, they bash not only do they bash, but they leave you with a bill after that. Complaints from neighbors, lawsuit, not you, someone else, right? They leave so much harm and damage, and the next week you invite them back. And you say, please, I fixed up the room for you. I made your beds. I cleaned up all the mess you made. I paid off all the bills. You're welcome back into my home. And again, you do. And again, they do this. And again, you invite. And again, and again, and again. And that's Hashem. And that's, what would you call it in today's language? A tafaya. Right? I don't want to say the word because it doesn't sound nice in English, but you're being taken advantage of. You're naive. What are you letting them ride all over you? Right? But yet that's what Hashem does all the time. And that's why Chazal say he's a humiliated king. So where is your glory is Hashem. They're humiliating you. They're taking the vitality and the energy and the life force that you have pumped into every breath, every oxygen cell that goes and floats, that goes and nourishes the body of the Russia who's committing, I'm not talking about us simpletons, I'm talking about I'm going extreme with the Russia, the people who are, if it's anti-Semitic, if it's atheism, if it's immoralism, it's everything, right? You're giving them vitality. Where's your glory? Where's your honor? Where's your honor? Why are you supporting people like that? Why are you giving them life? Why are you giving them the right to continue to bash and betray you? Where's your glory? And I have to tell you, when you say that word, ayeh kvodecha, where is your glory? Where's your honor here? Right? Wouldn't you say that to your friend? Wouldn't you say that to your friend if you knew that someone was over and over and over again taking advantage of them and abusing them? I just gave you a real life scenario. What would you say to a friend who they would keep inviting guests over and over and over again, and this is the way they're treating their home? And not only that, they schlepped in some of the kids that you had flower kids who were doing everything right, and they made them join the hoot. And they're now also doing, your children, not yours, but the person's children is also involved now in doing all this damage. Can you, and the person still keeps inviting them over. And that's essentially what Hashem keeps doing. Se'avon, he's carrying all the avonot. Now what happens, every time we do an avon, that also is sustained by an angel, albeit a darkened angel. That angel was created because of the misdeed. That angel comes before Hashem and says, who's going to sustain me? Who's going to give me nourishment to keep me alive? Imagine an act, a misdeed that I did, a sin, a thought, a ratzon, something I did. I didn't do it properly. I created a dark angel. That dark angel comes before Hashem and says, who's going to feed me? I'm going to go back to her and I'm going to demand that she feeds me, because every angel has to get nourished, right? Because I created it. So it's going to go back to me. I'm the owner. I'm the owner of this angel because I had part in creating it, right? Hashem says, no. It's okay. Leave her alone. Come to me. I'll give you food. I created damage. And now he's saying, don't worry, I'm going to feed you. Because I know she's going to come back to tshuva, and you'll get your nourishment from the tshuva. The light that she's going to have will put you in the place where you need to be, and you won't feel like you won't need anything anymore. Your existence will be complete, right? This is what Hashem does all the time. He's all the time sustaining us and giving us another chance and doing more for us. These are the things we need to be thinking about on Rosh Hashanah. These are the things we need to be thinking about Rosh Hashanah. How you've been so forgiving of me. How you've continued to sustain me. How you've continued to give to me. And every time I have a complaint towards you, you're still giving me. And you're saying, no, it's okay, honey. I know you don't understand that when I'm giving you the small little lot, I'm giving you a small piece of cake and not a whole cake because I know your cholesterol's high. And I know you shouldn't be having so much cake. So I'm giving you just a small piece. Because if I gave you the whole cake, you'd have a stomachache and be in the bathroom all day long. And I don't want that for you. Everything in the midah that we need. Hashem is giving everything. But again, if I don't come to terms with my negative emotions that I have towards someone else, right? And I'm angry at them, I'm not happy with my life, I can't be in that good relationship with Hashem. So in order to earn that loving embrace from Hashem, that's why there's a requirement to forgive the other person, to come to peace with basar v'dam, with humankind, with our brethren, so that I can be done with as much as possible, yes, with those negative emotions, and I can embrace my life. And then say to Hashem, you know what? Now that the negativity has been cleaned up a little bit from within me, I see the light. I see the goodness. I see your love. I experience it. And I can walk into shul and say, my year has been a good year. And you know what? I do want another year like that. I do want it. So it's to really use the koach from Sefer Yetzirah. There's a koach in the letter Yud in this month. This month, according to Sefer Yetzirah, is represented by the letter Yud. What is Yud? A little dot. It's the smallest. It's the point from which everything else is drawn. All the letters begin in a Yud. It's the beginning, right? Elul gives us the opportunity to make a new drawing in our life, to begin to paint a new picture in our life. How do I choose to paint the end of the year and begin the new year? I'll say something personally what happened to me. My husband a week ago went through knee surgery. Okay? Right? Thank God. Baruch Hashem. Today he got his sutures out. Thank God. Baruch Hashem. He has to hop for the next month and a half. He's not allowed to step on that leg. What leg did it happen on? His left leg. What leg does he have to hop on? He only has one other one, right? He has the right leg, right? So I said to him, let's look at the bright side. Hashem wants you to hop out of the new year on the right leg, and he wants you to hop into the new year on your right leg too. You have no choice. You can't walk on the left leg, right? So you're ending off your year on the right foot, and you're starting a new year with the right foot. Now, I could be miserable, I could be upset. I can't tell you I wasn't at times, but you short-live those moments. The key is not to say, I won't have anything. You can't set expectations that are angelic. We're not angels. But it's to try to short-live that place. You know, like Sunday night, I went through something where I was devastated. I just had my little mourning period. And I allowed myself to be in that space. Why? Because I realized if I don't give, if I don't allow myself to experience those sad, downtrodden feelings, I'm going to be stuck with it. I'm just pushing it down. So I allowed myself to cry and even talk to Hashem and even, I wouldn't say ask why, but sort of open up myself to saying, I really don't understand what it is, why I'm going through what I'm going through. And guess what? Literally from the night to the next afternoon, I really felt so much better. So again, I remember myself years ago, this would have lasted for weeks. I'm saying weeks. I wouldn't have let this go. After the crying and after the complaining and after everything, I would have still held. So yes, I mean, would I want to make that even shorter? Of course. But the key is to chart your progress. Chart your progress today based on where you were, last Elul, and you'll see, I'm positive. Do tshuva from that place where you could chart the progress of what you did last year and the way you respond to things now. And present it to Hashem too. Present it to Him too and say, I wouldn't want to go back on all the nisyonot that I went through this year, but you know what, Hashem? I could see how it has become a place of healing, a place of strength, a place of empowerment, a place of courage, right? It's taking the yud, taking the chokhmah, taking the wisdom of experience that I've had all the past year and using that as a springboard to jump into the new year, right? From that place to do tshuva. And again, why did I bring the idea of the two, right? The din and the cheshbon, is to do tshuva from the place of, you see Hashem, this picture called cheshbon. The only picture Hashem really sees is not the din, He sees the cheshbon. He only sees what we are meant to be. He only sees the potential of what we're supposed to be. And that's all he's only focusing on that movie. He's not focusing on the deen. He's not interested in the deen. He's not interested in punishing us. He doesn't have grand old fun for bringing in all, the difficulties in life. It's not part of the plan. That's just something that has to happen as a corrective pattern. What he really wants us to focus on is the cheshbon part. What you could be doing, what you should be doing, what you can be doing, what you're supposed to be doing, right? All that you're meant to be, that's what he wants you to focus on. And it's from that place that we should enter into Rosh Hashanah. It's from that loving embrace place that we should enter into Rosh Hashanah and say, Hashem, I want to be able to see that picture in my life, in me. I want to be able to see the potential of what this is meant to put me into. What space is this meant to put me in? Where am I supposed to be? What am I supposed to grow into? How strong am I meant to become from this difficult situation that I'm in right now? I'm yearning to be able to fulfill my godly potential. Why? So I could become closer to you. Because when I fulfill my godliness, I become closer to God. And it's from that place that we should be davening for on Rosh Hashanah. That's the loving embrace that we need to be giving to Hashem, that God willing He'll be giving back to us, Be'ezrat Hashem as well. Yeah, so the glory is Hashem, I'm yearning to get to the point where this will no longer be in a stature, in a state of belief. I want to be able to see the revelation. It should be revealed, your loving kindness to the world. There shouldn't be any more questions about, well, how could a God do this, right? Or as it says in Tehillim, Ayeh Elokecha, right? The Goyim ask, where's your God? I don't want you to be in that place, Hashem. I'm pained over your pain, that your glory, you're looked upon as a king who's not even involved with his creatures. It pains me to know that you're behind the scenes and nobody even knows that you exist. Now you're going to say, but wait a minute, a lot of the world do believe in God. Why are you telling me nobody believes? Because there's so much evil and wrongdoing and transgressions and immorality, permeating existence. All of that would not be if we really believed that God was looking at us all the time, supervising at us all the time. I mean, you have to be a fool, okay, to commit a crime right in daylight when there's cameras all around and everyone's looking at you. Right? I think even the most daring, brazen, chutzpahdik ganav would not dare to commit a crime when he knows he's being spectated out by everyone. Correct? I mean, you got to be really foolish. So if anybody's doing anything wrong, it's coming from a place of nobody sees, nobody knows. Maybe they didn't pay attention. Nobody's paying attention to a little old me who just stole $100,000. I mean, like, who would pay attention to that? God's so busy doing other things, you know. So obviously what that tells us is that we all live in a presence where we don't remember that Hashem is here. We don't experience his immediate presence in our lives. You want to say something?
Yeah, I just think, though, that maybe saying that could bring about deen, no?
What?
Bring about deen. Hashem could say, you know, you're right. I'm being mistreated here, and then he'll get angry at the world. I mean,
Do you think he doesn't know, he needs me to remind him? What you're saying is basically, I'm reminding him. I'm not reminding him. I'm not reminding him at all. The opposite, I'm showing to him, I feel for you, Hashem. You know what? I'm on your side. I feel your pain. The opposite will be like, wow, she loves me so much. She even feels how I feel.
it'll bring redemption quicker.
I do believe it. I do believe it'll bring. I believe that, like, again, I'm not humanizing at all Hashem. Chas v'shalom. I don't understand the concept of what Hashem really is, to humanize him, chas v'shalom. But think about it. When a person's going through a hard time, it's so nice when you can go over to that person. I've learned this new way of trying to really feel Am Yisrael. How can you really feel Am Yisrael? Adapt the idea of saying to them, I want to lend you my heart just for a moment, and I want to give you a bigger container, a bigger vessel to contain the pain that you're going through right now. So I'm going to give you my heart for this moment when I'm with you. I want to give you my heart so that the pain is so great and so immense and so permeating your heart, I can feel it explode. Let me give you a part of my heart. And I want to share some of that pain with you so that you know you're not alone. How great would that make the other person feel? That's essentially what we're saying to Hashem. I feel your pain. You're not alone. Hashem says you're not alone. I want to say to Hashem, well, guess what? You're not alone either. You're with me? Well, guess what? I'm also with you. Right? So let's just do one little exercise, very quick. It's called a somatic exercise, okay? It's going to take you exactly 5 minutes, okay? Somatic is body. It's another word for body. And I want you to be able to, we're going to zoom in to, and see, you'll just follow my voice, follow my instructions per se, and follow the cue of trying to see la briut, whether or not there's something dislodged still inside your presence that requires some attention in terms of forgiveness. Okay, it's a great exercise. So you can gauge, you can say, wait, I don't know, did I really forgive that person? Close your eyes, let's go, and let's see, did you really forgive? So bring that.
No matter what my hands are doing.
No, not really. No, we're going to go straight into this. I'm not going to do any breathing or anything, because you can go straight into your subconscious mind just from closing your eyes and just, being in that zone of shutting out the outside world. Think about a person that you want to gauge, or an event you want to gauge. Did I really forgive that person? Just think about it for just a moment. Just be in that experience of whatever it is you feel. And don't question. Whatever came to your mind first is exactly what you need to question at this time. Okay? And just take one deep breath and do a scan of your body. With the consciousness of that experience that you're looking to see, and scan your body from top. And you know how your body is, right? Your head, your forehead. Just check your eyes, your nose, your mouth. I'm going to let you just scan your own body and see if your attention is caught on any particular part of your body. Again, go down, throat, shoulders, hands, fingers, your chest, your heart, your stomach, your hips, your thighs, your knees, your ankles, your toes. You can even check the back part of your body. As though you're investigating, is there a part I still need to experience or let go of that experience, of course. And again, it may come to you with a subtle sensation of tightness, anxiety, cold, hot, vibrating, tingling. And when you're ready, you can just open up your eyes, because that gives you a gauge of information. Did anyone feel anything? You didn't? Did you feel anything?
No.
Good. Anybody feel anything? No? No? Okay. It could be that everyone's just tired. It looks to me that everyone's closed their eyes at one point.
Right.
So you go back to the recording of the class, and I want you to do it. When you're in your space, where you're really focused, go into that and just say, okay, I want to know, is that living? That's what I'm saying. Is it living somewhere inside of me? And this comes from the molecules of emotions. Is that emotion trapped in one of the molecules somewhere in my body? And when you're in a space of really openness and you're not tired and you're ready to be in that place to get that information, you'll get it. You'll get it. And then what the beautiful part of this is, now you have a gauge. Like, oh, okay, it's stuck in my left elbow. Could happen. What is that? My left elbow, what is it doing there? Oh, left elbow is the place where, the elbow is the place where you embrace. You can't hug. Can you hug a person when you're doing this? You can't, right? Look at the beauty, the chokhmah of Hashem. He created an elbow so I can actually wrap my hand on somebody, something, right? An event, whatever. So an elbow, again, would be, I'm not embracing the situation. I'm not embracing someone in my life because of that, right? You can get information. And then you have to now work towards focusing your energy on dislodging that space in your body that holds the memory of the trauma or the fear or the event, and send, the message, I've done the forgiveness, I need to do the forgiveness now even deeper, and send loving forgiveness energy into that place that you felt that emotional pain, or that, the place of unresolved emotions, and wait to get confirmation in your mind to see a release of the pain, a light coming to you. You might suddenly visualize an open field with flowers. You might suddenly see just a sunny day. Whatever it is, you'll experience, you'll know when it's been released.
When you feel
Yes, yes.
I suffer from chronic pain. My hips, my neck, shoulders. I go to chiropractors, reflexologists. I get relief. But
It's in the joints.
No.
You're saying to me hips?
No, my hips, but I'm saying everything's explainable. I had triplets, I have ligament damage in my left hip. I had
Mind, body, and soul.
So I'm saying.
So body, you can explain it, great. What about what's in your
I've been
mind?
thinking for a long time that, again, everything's a message from Hashem, but
Right.
I haven't even explored that avenue yet of like.
So be in contact with me, and maybe I could probably give you some very important information.
In America, here, chiropractors, reflexologists, go to my this, go to my doctor, go to no one is able. What do I
And when you
do?
go and say, what do they do for you?
Do you have an actual a diagnosis? No, it's just pain.
Stuff, and if I'm, certainly by the end of every Friday.
So it's bones. Well, it's not bones. It's what? It's muscular.
Then my neck, my shoulders.
Oh, so it's muscular. It's not joints.
Everything, my hips, my
So muscles
back.
are all strength.
Strength?
Muscles are all strength.
I'm fatigued 24/7.
No, but I'm saying it's
So this has been going
it's
on
having
for 4
it's
years, and
it's saying I have no
every
core.
day, take away my aches and pains, take away my fatigue, so I can serve you better, because it definitely limits me.
Hashem says, then back, again, I don't know, I haven't spoken to him lately to know for sure, but I would assume that Hashem is waiting for you to dislodge something that doesn't have to do with him. Listen to me. If there's something that Hashem could do, per se, on his own, to take away that pain,
He would. It's a message in it, and I haven't. let
There's
it-
something you need to do. We come to Hashem with complaints. Why don't you take away X, Y, and Z? Hashem says, because this has nothing to do with me. It has to do with your cheshbon with this person or this emotion or that, right? Hashem causes this, we have to assume responsibility for correcting certain paths before he can really, and he's sending the healing energy, but it's blocked with us. So we come to him and say, take it away. But we have something we need to be doing in our role as a co-creator to change something. So you have to ask, what is there?
Beyond not connected to what, I am connected to what you're saying, because on my own, I've been thinking, there's something greater going on here, but I am beyond not even connected to what it could be. I don't feel like I'm holding.
Have you ever done a somatic meditation?
No.
Text me. I'll send you a somatic meditation. It's a half an hour. You have to be very prepared. And I'll take you through an exercise where you're going to be able to scan your body, but in a very intense way. And you'll be able to hear the messages of your body through this meditation.
That doesn't even speak to me. Again, I know it works. I'm not a skeptic. Don't get me wrong. There's something about me that just does not go to those places. Like even every time I've sat with you and you do an exercise, I'm like blank.
I see. So that's why by the way, you're saying you're going to all these places and they're not giving you answers? It's because you're not in a place. You're not.
No, I go to physical.
I'm saying, right.
That I love. I have relief.
But it's not in the physical. It's not in the physical.
There's something much bigger going on. Something a chiropractor isn't going to help me with, or a reflexologist.
Or it'll help you temporarily, but it will not help you.
No, I've had no relief for
Yeah.
years.
There's a klipa there.
Yeah, there's a core.
It's a thick banana klipa.
So we can consider whatever. Maybe you want to consider doing work, energy work.
You think it's related to energy?
No, it's not that it's necessary. Of course, everything's related to energy, but I think we can come up with some of the core. I think you can come to a level of consciousness of understanding what it is. I think we should try.
Okay.
Yeah. And not that I'm looking for business. Trust me. I mean.
No, I've gone to Miriam Siegel. I've done that stuff. I've done so much.
Wow.
It comes, it goes, it comes. It's been years.
Yeah, but Hashem's waiting for you. He's sending the relief, but he's waiting for you you have to do something. You have to take an active role in something else. And it could be that up until now it wasn't meant to come, obviously. And I don't know if it'll come through me or someone else. I'm just saying, when the time is right, Hashem will send you the right person.
So you don't even think it's as pashut as like you need to lose weight and exercise? Because when I was at the gym...
Have you done that all?
I definitely have felt better, obviously, but I don't feel like I'm that overweight that is...
I always say, if you've done things and it hasn't worked, that means that's not where the solution is.
Put it this way, I've lost weight and I've been to the gym and then Hashem takes it away from me. When I go in that direction,
right,
all of a sudden I'm just thinking about food again, like the desires were gone and then they're back. I went to the gym and I didn't get hurt, but I got out of my car, turned the wrong way and I got hurt and then I couldn't go to the gym.
Wow.
So every time I think I'm on a path or a journey that, well, this is amazing, this is what I daven for, this is what I want, he takes it away. It's almost like, because I'm being redirected.
Because you're putting tons of Band-Aids. You're putting tons of Band-Aids on it.
Sure, but I have no clue.
Right.
The depth of, I'm sure it's deep, but I don't even have a
Okay,
clue.
so let's see. Again, I'm saying, obviously there is something there. There's something there. So we should be a Shana Tova, like I said, brachot ad bli dai, and we should Bezrat Hashem be zocha to have a year where we really can hug our reality, where we really can yearn for the good, ask Hashem to reveal the good, and believe that it's there, yearn for it, and ask Hashem to finally, show the goodness in the most extraordinary, beautiful, revealed way. Barach Hamim Gdolim. Amen.